All right, what's up, guys? Got Dave here, and I am commuting commuting to work. And I was actually talking to this old guy that came into work a couple days ago, and I've got to tell you guys this story because it was really cool. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I used to commute, and he's like, and that's what allowed me to ride a motorcycle like my whole life. I was riding my whole life because I commuted. So what this guy was talking about is he goes, I started off riding motorcycles when I was a little kid. You know, like our whole family, like, you know, like my mom and dad rode bikes, and we'd go out to the desert, and, you know, me and my brothers had bikes, you know, and we'd all ride. And he's like, I grew up riding. He's like, and you know, like, he's like, even when I got my driver's license, he's like, I was riding a bike around town. Like, it was like years before I got a car, you know, like, he's like, I was just like riding all the time, everywhere. And he's like, that's just how I grew up, you know. He's like, and then I met the girl that, you know, I ended up marrying, that became my wife. And when we first met, we'd ride everywhere. We'd, like, you know, like, I'd go and pick her up for dates on my bike. And he goes, and it's funny because her parents almost didn't let her, like, go out with me, because I came to the house on a bike to pick her up for the date, and they were like, oh, I don't know, man, like, you're taking our daughter out on a bike, you know, like, that's like asking for trouble, you know. And but he's like, they were cool with it, and he's like, that's, you know, that's why, one of the main reasons why she fell in love with me is because I was on a bike, you know, and just the feeling of being on the back of that bike everywhere we went. He's all, but then we started having kids, and life totally changes, you know. And he's like, but I started commuting to work on my bike. He's like, I'd ride to work every once in a while, you know, like on a Friday, you know, like on a Friday or something. I'd take my bike to work instead of taking my pickup truck or whatever, you know, just like for something different to do. He's like, but when I started having kids and life started getting like real serious, he's like, I started commuting to work on my bike every single day, nonstop. And he's like, because of that, I was able to ride all those, like, for freaking like 30 or 40 years while me and my wife were raising kids. You know, like, there was never a weekend that I could go out on a fun ride, and there was never, you know, like, just, you know, any spare moment that I had. He's like, I wanted to spend with my family, and I wanted to spend with my kids. And he goes, but at the same time, he goes, I wasn't like one of those people that was like, oh, I don't want to ride because if anything happens, I don't want to, like, you know, like, widow my wife and leave my kids, you know, like, type of thing, like, leave my kids without a father. Like, there's a lot of people that would just, like, stop riding altogether. But this guy, he was like, I just didn't have time to, you know, like, on the week, like, the weekend would come, and he's like, I can't take like 3 hours or 4 hours to go up to the rock store like you do, you know. He's like, I've got to freaking take the kids to, like, t-ball practice, or, you know, or go do this or go do that, or, like, there's always stuff to do. And he's like, I just he's like, the only time I ever really had to ride was that like in the morning, and, you know, like going to work and coming home. He's like, and because of that, he's like, I could ride every single day. And he's like, if I wasn't commuting, I wouldn't have been able to. So I thought that was a really cool story, you know, like, that he was able to ride his whole life, even though he technically didn't have time to, other than commuting to work. And he was saying, he's like, now that the kids are grown and gone, and he's like, me and my wife are retired, and he's like, now, he's like, we've got a Goldwing. He's like, and it's just like how we were back when we were dating, you know, like, we just hop on the bike and we ride places now, go across country, like, you know, go camping, all kinds of stuff. And he's like, but it's like come full circle, you know, because it started out with me and my wife, or me and my girlfriend, you know, wife-to-be, on riding around on his bike. And then he was able to ride his whole life and come full circle that now he's riding around with his wife once again. So funny. Life's crazy, man. It's a long time and it just goes by so fast all at the same time. It's weird. So I hope that was a cool story, and I will see you guys in the next video. Ride safe out there. Peace.